All right, ladies and gents, welcome as we speed up to a series with TheViper and Barles in Group D. Later on YouTube, you're going to see the little edit. Everyone say thank you, Hardy, for that. We got a little edit on screen. It's going to show you the group standings. This will include the result from the series we just covered, I believe, anyways. It is possible it will not. Okay, let's not talk about the series we just covered. Let's just say that what's important here is that Barles has 2 wins, and then Viper has 5, okay? So Viper won his group the first season. He's expected to, even if he has a couple slip-ups here or there, advance on to the playoff stage. But for Barles, he was in 4th place, and he was tied on the amount of wins, and he won through a tiebreaker to get 4th place after the first season. So he wants every win he can. He is in an okay position. He got 1 win off of Tato, and he got 1 win off of Veleza. So I think the goal still here for him is maybe get 1 win off of Viper, and then move on and play Sato, Sebastian, try and get more wins there. But I will say this, for Barles, he's actually got a really good shot to get more than 1 win in this series based on the draft. It's Nomad Game 1, and he is Spanish, which is seen as one of the most dominant Nomad civilizations. And then, for his home map, he has Arena. And anything can happen there on Arena. So, Viper's gone for the Malians, a civilization that is also top tier on Nomad. And I recall Viper playing very good on Nomad in his series against Sato. I imagine he'll be able to play just as good here against Barles. All right, so, Viper has already docked and is on to his 2nd fishing ship now. Malian wood buildings are cheaper, so you save a lot of wood. Very clean build for Viper. Actually, it's one of the rare instances where I get, super excited and want to just load up a game to experience this myself mid-cast. Because I'm just oh, it's actually perfect. Because normally, getting the boar this fast, and then also having the 2nd fishing ship, and also having the 2nd house, and being on your way to the 3rd fishing ship, that's a little tricky. Sorry if that's a little too in-depth. Look at this map generation. So you've got a pond in the middle, and there's no crossing here. That is something, I don't know if you could qualify it as a bug, but this version of Nomad with these types of gens, we've always hoped, and in most cases, there is actually a little bit of a crossing there. So, to my knowledge, units cannot actually cross there on land. Viper will be scouting to maybe find his opponent's dock, because the goal for him is going to be able to take the fish away from the Spanish, and he is well on his way right now with this goat to finding something. As for Barles, he's got stone and gold right to the north of him here. He's got berries. He's got a boar. He's already brought in a boar. He's going to even bring in another boar. You don't actually focus as much on killing the opponent's fish with the Spanish. But I think an underrated decision with the Spanish is just to go fast feudal into going for water. Because they're always going to try and kill your fish. So why don't you just have some ships out there so you don't just give it up completely? And did Viper just lose that? I think he did. Okay, important moments here. So Viper just lost that goat. So he knows there's probably a dock there. And then Barles, just click something. He just lost this goat. So he knows there's probably a TC there for Viper. And there's a pretty wide open map here, but you could maybe get wild and consider a full stonewall here. Maybe. But yeah, you are right, guys. I think you could build 1 dock here and block this off. So we could have the classic dock block. T90, you can dock block there. Yep. Can you show few seconds of player civs on draft when uploading video on YouTube Extra? Possibly. It's something I want to talk to Hardy about. What do you guys think about this? So I know a lot of you guys watch the streams. So it might be a little different for you, but I imagine you watch videos as well a decent amount. What if we were to have the normal intro that I have, where it shows the, the map and whatnot, and then it also shows the table around here at the bottom left. But while we show the table at the bottom left, we could show a quick peek at the draft on the right. I am very much against having the introduction to the cast not show the game. But people have been talking about the draft. Maybe we could just have it say, the maps that are going to be played and then show their civs. It would be a bit smaller. So it wouldn't be full screen. But would that be cool? I think it's maybe doable. Let's see where Viper goes for dock number 2 here. He hasn't gone for dock number 2 yet, actually. As he brings in a boar. He's going to gold. Normally, dock number 2 is going to come up. Lots of yellow things moving around here. And he's going to dock there. Which is an interesting decision here. Not exactly what you would expect if you're trying to kill the opponent's fish. But he is going to add a barracks. Okay, so I think instead of trying to kill the opponent's fish and going all in for it, I think Viper's actually docking here so he can add fish of his own. And he's going to use the land aggression to try and deny situations for Barles. So he'll go 1 fire galley and probably send it that way. He won't overcommit towards it. And he's going to go another fire galley here. But I might even be shocked to see him go for like a 3rd and a 4th fire galley. And here comes Viper running towards where he believes his opponent is. Making some outposts and even researching Town Watch early here. Yeah, I did like the mining camp here for Barles. And I also like the resources. This is so much better than some of the other players I've seen on Nomad with Spanish. Like, you should be able to, if you're just giving up your fish, just drop your market blacksmith and click right up. And Viper is actually going for the 3rd fire galley. So I don't know. Like, I feel like it would have been more successful if he would have gone this way. But then again, he is kind of... If he hits on this side, Barles can't really run easily, so... A bit of a pincer movement. Barles gets loom, which is great. He goes for the market and the blacksmith. The goal, obviously, for him is to get a castle up in the next age and go conquistadors. Viper continues to make those fire galleys. No sign from him that we're going to see an archer range yet, but I think he's actually waiting for the wood for it right now. Should be doable now. And still no range. Still scouting with sheep. Sees walls. When he's approaching the fish now, Barles is up. And Viper will see this. Viper still no range. Also, holy houses. He must have gotten housed, so he's just going to build 3 of them. Not necessarily too bad. And now the fish start to go down for Barles. So... you know, like, players have done a really good job when I have seen Spanish not banned of countering the conquistadors. Because they take out the fish, and then the opponent doesn't have the food to make conquistadors in the next stage. Every conquistador is so important. You want to see resources gathered? Sure, I'll show that. Viper has not collected near as much food, interestingly enough. But he will in the long run, because he will have more fishing ships. So this is not very efficient. There's the archer range for Viper, but honestly, I mean, the range timing... This is why I was a little surprised with the 4 fires, because the range timing isn't fast enough to really even deny a good castle spot. By the time he has an archer out, his opponent's going to probably have a conquistador. So just real tricky with the Spanish. You know exactly what they're going for. Can you stop it? And Barles has more than enough food here. But what Barles doesn't know... Oh, that actually was really awkward for him. He doesn't actually know the outposts are here, and he doesn't know there's going to be a range. If he knew the outpost was there, I think he would drop the castle very safe, but there's a possibility he goes forward now. First thing you do is you drop this castle, Barles. First thing you do. First thing you do. Drop off the stone. There it is. He's going to drop it on the hill. Good thing he is loom. That'll go up. He's Spanish. He'll freak out, and he might cancel it, but if he thinks about this, this will absolutely go up. Viper has no fletching. It's just 1 archer. Great job from Barles not to cancel this, man. He sends more vills, which is, you know, the safe move, just in case Viper sends something crazy. And I had said, when I saw this position in the past, that maybe Viper could stonewall. Does he stonewall this, maybe? Boom, stonewall. Boom, stonewall. Because those conks are going to be out soon, man. He's sending lots of vills. I think he's going to try. Yeah, okay, there's the stonewalling. Now, if he tries to stonewall all of this, it might not work. Okay, crucial timing here. Crucial timing. Again, great job, Barles. First conquistador's on the way. Remember Citeaux against Viper? Citeaux tried to stonewall, and it was too late. See how quick it is for Viper. Sato's got... Take the berries now for food income. He's got the berries here. The double berries is actually very helpful. And I think I said Sato. Sorry, I confused myself. He shoots the goat. And Barles is going the wrong way. He's going to find there's no crossing here, too. That sucks for him, though. I mean, Viper scouted that a long time ago. But there's no way for him to get over there. And now he might be confused when he clicks. But now he sees the walls. And he's already added a petard. Timing's crucial here, guys. Okay, so Feudal Age Stonewalls, they have 1080 HP. Castle Age Stonewalls, so just arriving to Castle Age changes this. They have 1800 HP. One petard takes out a Feudal Age Stonewall. 2 petards are needed to take out a Castle Age Stonewall. The fact that Barles has this coming already is so unbelievably well timed. And Viper might have an idea that this is coming. I think he might have saw it. And now he's dropping gates, but Viper's in big trouble. Viper is in big trouble. Gate foundations won't hold against the conks. He has no army. And we're really going to have to see Viper pull off some crazy things here to have any chances. He's going to go double monastery. Oh, man. All right. And it is 3 for a fortified wall. Yes. To the person that just asked that. So... Barles should know now that he's in an amazing position to stop the Viper. What he doesn't know is that Viper can't take gold right now. But it's better than, you know, not knowing that Viper is taking gold. You know, it's still a really strong position as Barles says, okay, I'm going to take that relic real quick back to my monastery. And I'm going to go siege now. And look at Viper sell and buy all these resources. Because he now has to defend from the famous Nomad unit, man. We've seen so many players die to this unit over the years on Nomad. Which is why I'm surprised Viper didn't ban it. It was a very weird situation on the draft. Where Barles got the first pick. Now Barles is going to see this. Viper felt desperate for gold. So he needed to get somewhere. And Viper now with some quick gates to stop the other conks from getting there. And he's got a monk going for conversion. And he's going to get it. Wow, he somehow didn't get that conversion. Viper gives himself a chance now, obviously, because he can kind of take some gold for now. And remember, he's got 8 fishing ships. Barles' food eco is decent, but he actually lost this mill and maybe a couple villagers here. It looks like he lost like 2 or 3 villagers on that mill and didn't realize. Viper's going to need so much gold because if he wants to stop the siege, he now needs redemption for his monks. And there's still a lot of conquistadors out there for Barles. Viper said he banned Portuguese because of Nomad. Okay, well, he chose to ban Portuguese, left Spanish, which I feel like are clearly stronger there. But Viper also might feel like the Portuguese are even stronger than the Spanish because he played Portuguese really well in one of his rounds. Redemption's on the way for Viper. You can't say he can't convert the siege, but can he stop the conks then? Because he won't have the monk numbers. I don't know where she's going, but she's dead. Remember, Barles is pretty all in here, right? He's not in a position to drop the second town center right now. He wants his second castle to be on Viper's face. That's going to be his key. Viper doesn't even have sanctity yet. Like, his monks are so fragile here. They will get one-shotted by a mangonel. They'll absolutely get destroyed by the conks. But Viper could pop in and out and play this little game. Barles won't like that. Viper switches the conversions to the conks. Gets a conversion pretty quickly. It could be converted back. But Viper kills the monk. But here are the villagers. This timing from Barles is crazy. Can Viper stop this? I don't think he can. Great play from Barles. Just all-inning the Viper. Man, he's desperate for wins here, man. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Yeah, just run away for now. Give Viper a couple villagers. Who cares? You just need to get that castle up. Viper's under some crazy pressure right now. He's adding his 3rd town center because he's destined to lose this one. And I think the big thing is his monks can't easily hop out of the monastery. They will die to the castle fire if Viper's not careful. And Barles is just sitting underneath the TC because he knows the situation, and Viper drops the G. I'm sure he immediately after said GG, so don't... People always like to freak out and be like, drama! The salty G! No, he probably just said GG immediately after, and I'll even show you, but Barles gets the win. Now, again, I'd like to state the importance of this for Barles. He only had 2 wins, okay? So now he's got the 3rd, and he's got the 3rd against the Viper, and he's got Arena waiting in his back pocket for the home map. So you still got some great potential to get more wins here for your Barles. Obviously, Viper, he tried to take out the fish from Spanish, but Barles just had the perfect build with the most difficult civ to deal with on Nomad if it's played properly, at least in my opinion. And again, a lot of that does come back to the draft, even before all that execution. But that was a perfectly executed Spanish play. Viper had a big eco lead, maybe not with resources brought in. Yeah, he did. But he realized it was all going to disappear here in a second. All right, so, just to show you guys, because Viper would never G. All right, here you go. Helping Viper's reputation here. There was the GG, right? We're all good. No one needs to freak out. It's all fine. I don't know why that's that big a deal for people, but GGing is important for us. All right, so as we catch up to speed here, this is game 2, and much like we had seen Barles do very well with his very first Civilization pick in his Civ draft, you'd expect Viper to feel pretty comfortable with the Hindustanis here, as that was his very first pick, and this is his home map. Viper, I think he made a lot of good decisions in the first game. He knew exactly what he was going to be up against, but Barles just had all the right plays, including that crazy petard there on Nomad. Barles, the pressure's off a little bit, but still you want to get as many wins as possible, and you just showed yourself that you can dominate the Viper if the situation is right. But Barles has gone for the Lithuanians. And I honestly don't hate the matchup for the Lithuanians. I think that what Barles was maybe initially thinking when he was selecting civs was going for like Aztecs or Mayans or something. But the Hindustanis in recent times have been pretty good against that. And the Hindustanis are also pretty good against the camels, right? So, Hindustanis are good against knight civilizations is what I meant to say. I misspoke. So, at least the Lithuanians have the speedy pikemen. That's where my mind's going. Like, if you were to go Franks instead of the Lithuanians, you have good scout in the knight. They go camels, and then you're stuck. But if you're Lithuanians, you have monasteries that work a bit faster too, so the monks can convert the camels, and then you also have the speedy pikemen. So Lithuanians actually have a lot of tools here. The Hindustanis, though, having the cheaper vills, and in the hands of the Viper too, I think, end up being very strong here. So gold on the back for Barles. Couple small wood lines for both players to work with. This will be the most open, awkward, exposed area of Barles' base. All of his stones being forward. For the Viper, I actually think his wood situation is easier to manage. Lots of walling potential, but his golds are awkward, and this hill has a stone and a gold beneath it, as well as this gold is also on some hills. You'll notice that's the theme. We added some bigger hills, and basically we want more fight for map control. And we even saw Tato going forward in Feudal Age because of a hill in earlier series today, so I really like that change. More than anything, though, we wanted to just open it up more than the first season. Because the first season, Arabia was like 3 big wood lines, and you could almost play it like Arena at times. So, all right. Yeah, there's no drama. The Viper's all chill. Viper's here, play some good games, have a good time. And what I would expect is I would expect to see scouts from the Viper. Scouts and Adapt is one of the best build orders for the Hindustanis, and Scouts and Adapt is pretty much, it matches Viper's skill set. I am wondering, maybe he's looking for his sheep right now with this villager, which is a little interesting. Yeah, he certainly seems to be looking for the sheep. But the sheep are actually over here, and he's going to loop on home to get those. Barles, I'd assume, would go scouts as well. I think playing in towards scouts is perfect for Lithuanians. Plus, then everyone makes spearmen, which is great for them. And the thing about Barles is he's always safe from early attacks. Like, the previous game, he had his walls down. He got his timing right with his build order. You're just not going to see many mistakes from Barles. Speaking of potential mistakes, why does Viper have 5 vills in queue? Certainly this is something that he's just forgotten. There's no way this is fast castle for him, right? Okay, he just realized he's going 21 pop with the civilization that has really cheap villagers. And he pushed in all of his deer. The Dark Age was a little sloppy for Viper. Let's just put it that way. I don't think it's rude to say that here. I mean, watch how much food this guy's going to have. You could have gone up 2 villagers faster if you wanted to, but it's all good. He's going to drop the lumber camps now. It's funny how we've gotten to this point, though, where a 21 population scout build is slow, you know? Meanwhile, Barles is 18 pop. Barles is like, let's go. Big difference in the uptimes. So a full minute for Barles to start massing spearmen and scouts, whatever he needs to. The downside, obviously, is that you sometimes can't get all your eco upgrades on the back of this fast of a build. Because Viper's got 3 more villagers working throughout this whole time. So, I mean, if anything, Viper going up later is better for him. Because he's the type of guy that can quick wall himself out of the early pressure, and they'll be completely fine. Yeah, Viper has a lot of faith in his quick walls, and I would too, if I were him. Barracks for Viper. Barles has seen enough to know exactly what Viper's going for. Excuse me. He's also seen this gold and this stone, and he's probably like, nice. That is super good for me. All right, Spearman on the way. I like the forward Spearman pressure because Viper will go for his own Spearman. So you kind of just get the Spearman there first and just be, again, as annoying as possible. But as we stated, there's no world in which Viper couldn't have gone up faster. His resources are wild here. But he starts with a Spearman. He starts with a stable. And Barles already has 2 scouts on the field before Viper even has the stable completed. But now, you notice how Barles doesn't necessarily have that 3rd scout on the way? This is where he's more at the limit, which is what I had brought up a bit earlier. Okay. So, the thing that's tricky here for Barles is Viper's mill is actually really close to the TC. And so Viper is going to engage with you in a fight, and then he's going to back away a tile or 2 and garrison his TC. So you almost don't want to play that game with the Viper. Remember, Barles, a lot of people associate his name with defense, but he's got those good build orders. Good, clean play. He's got 3 scouts here, and Viper's hasn't even pre-walled like normal people would. But we've seen instances in the past with Viper where not pre-walling has actually been a concern for him. As much as you do have faith in those quick walls, sometimes it's an issue. But Viper's got 4 spearmen at home, so he's okay. And now he's thinking, well, okay, what's to stop me from going over to my base with your scouts? Because your spearmen are forward. And now Barles is thinking, maybe need to wall up a little bit. So Viper, you know, the faster uptime from his opponent didn't accomplish much against him here, and now he moves forward. Very nice play from him. Smooth as can be with his economy as he goes to gold early. He goes to gold really early, so he's maybe sensing that his opponent's going to just go spear defense from here, and he wants to switch into early archers. But this is an uncommon play for Viper to go to gold this early with so few farms. So this could surprise Barles. Meanwhile, Barles runs home with his spearmen. He's got multiple. Misses Viper. Barles now runs underneath the TC here with the scouts, knowing Viper had sent some of the spears forward. Sees the villager. He's going to go for the villager, and that sucks. That is really disappointing for Barles to not get that villager kill. Viper's just going to send her to a farm. Meanwhile, Viper's attacking here. Barles under some pressure. But can he get this villager kill? He's attacking another Viper villager, but now the spearmen are here as well. And, you know, 2 kills, 0 deaths. There hasn't been a lot of action in this game. But what happens next? Now Barles is looking for that lady. He's like, oh, where is she? I know she's weak. Might even be tempted to check the farm. Okay, but you see this, and you start freaking out if you're Barles. Because this range timing from Viper is disgusting. You're like, I'm not walled yet. I gotta wall fast before any archers arrive. The faster I wall, the better here. And he wants to wall up here, too. Oh, that's a risky wall. Barles struggling to do the damage. Viper scouts loop in. Barles wasn't even expecting this number of scouts, I bet. And that's going to be a villager down. And Viper, pretty much a perfect game so far, right? Perfect defense, perfect offense. Nice switch into a counter of what the opponent is going to be defending with here, and Viper just passes that Vil. Needs to get the archers forward. There he goes. Defended there as well. And Barles now going to lose the Spearman. Viper with the micro too. Viper still has not lost a unit. Oh boy. And Viper might even just like, you know, just hold this open. Like, this is okay for him. All he wants to do is just wait a little bit for those archers to arrive. Sees the Spearman, sees the Vil, attack the Vil. I'm not going to kill you yet. Am I going to kill you? I am going to kill you. Just wait it out. Just keep it open as long as possible. Oh, man, I would hate to be in Barles' position right now. Yeah, Viper won't even fully commit here. It just needs those archers, and Barles knows this too. See, there's a lot of spearmen, so the villagers might actually be able to get the walls down, which is the key. Viper doesn't want that to happen here. Running around with the scouts, letting the archers hit the spearmen now. Realizing Barles has the walls down. That's so sick from Barles, though, to get the walls down still. Oh! Oh my god, that villager! That villager opened the gate for a second, and Viper almost ran in. And it's been a clean game from the Viper, but Barles still has a chance now because the scouts don't really matter. And Barles could use the skirms against the archers that are on the other side of the wall. Viper's not finished, though. And whoa, did you guys know this gate had 141 HP? Because I didn't. If Viper sees that, he should absolutely attack it. It doesn't look like it. It looks like it maybe has like 300 HP. The crazy thing is that Viper has now clicked up at pretty much the same time. Would love to see him peel off one of these weak scouts and scout the rest of the map at the moment. And so I guess it's going to be skirms for Barles. And Spearman, is he going to go full trash maybe? I guess he kind of needs Spearman if any camels come out. And he wants to go skirms because there's archers. Oh, also the Hindustanis have, and I always forget this until I see it. Hindustanis do more damage against buildings with all their stable units. Look how fast the houses go down. This is something that Hera didn't factor into his thinking when he was playing against Ganji in their series a couple days ago. So that whole situation was really weird because he saw the house was going down. And then for some reason still just like stood there and let the scouts into his base. Fletching's on the way for Barles. Kept himself in the game. Got lots of food right now, I'm noticing. And lots of food is because he stayed on auto farm. A lot of pros don't do that at this stage. Let's see about Viper. Oh, auto farm. Okay. Normally, I mean, actually, what am I talking about? He's got a lot on wood. He's going to spend these resources. Everything's going to be fine. It's so funny, though. No one was using auto farm at the top 10 level. Look how fast this gate's going to go down, man. And then, so I turned mine off because I was like, they must know something I don't. And now I'm noticing that they're all getting lazy like me and they're all using it all the time, even in the early game. Not all of them, but many of them. The cool thing about the speediness of the skirms is you can take some pretty massive risks and then just run right back to your TC. Elite skirm's on the way. Bodcanero's on the way. Viper has crossbow and Viper has Bodcanero. Viper looking to kill. Still having the scouts here to help break through the houses is super valuable. Look how fast these houses go down. Now Barles has to scramble over here to the right side. And Barles wants to drop a siege workshop and wants to drop a house there as his skirms are still microing very nicely here. Wow, this is beautiful micro from him. Dang, man, you don't see this every day against someone like the Viper. But maybe a lot of this is the power of the Lithuanians. Viper ends up losing his scouts. But at the end of the day, let's talk about what Viper has seen, right? He's seen some stonewalling. He's seen a siege workshop. So he says, oh, okay, so most likely no TCs for him then. Boom, 3 TCs for Viper. Now his goal is to hold the map and defend against the skirms. And this is going to be an all-in from Barles in some way, shape, or form, right? I'm sure he'll know how cheap Hindustani villagers are. I'm sure he feels the pressure. Auto farm always steals my wood for upgrades, though. Yeah, I think the auto farm is not something you normally want to go for if you're committing long-term into archers. But if you're going cavalry and booming, it's completely fine. But that's for, like, certain elo and up. right? I think, like, if you're looking at 1500 elo and above, you maybe want to consider not having it on in the early stages. But any other elo, it's not really... It's better to have it on because it's, you know, playing this game is difficult. Yeah, Viper, I guess he'll be somewhat okay with this, but he will lose his crossbowman. And he's going to be making more crossbowmen at home. Nice clear up there from Barles. And he's going to have monks, and he's not going to have siege, but just monks and skirms feels a little bit more valuable for the time being against what Viper's making. Viper will add his own monks. But I think this is more so to grab relics. Like, he's not expecting knights from his opponent. I don't think monks are really valuable against speedy trash units. Always makes sense to try and get the relics against the Lithuanians. And that might actually be part of why Viper's over here. And Barles may or may not spot this. He's got a monk there. Viper will see the monk. Yep. Very well played from Viper. Barles just noticed it too. And Barles under a lot of pressure to kill right now because he is not booming. But Viper, I mean, crossbowman shouldn't last too long on the map. He's got to build up towards some military. He goes for the 4th town center. Super crazy eco here for Viper. He's kind of delaying, you know, even further military investment here. That 4th town center, though, does feel a little bit more realistic when the Hindustani villagers are as cheap as they are. Here comes the monks. Here comes the siege. Honestly, I think, like, getting the relics with Lithuanians, if you're not going knights, I think it's a little overrated in these types of scenarios where you need the all-in push to work well, right? You want the siege monks and all your army to be on this hill pushing, and I think having those things there is the most important thing in this moment. Getting those relics for later on, well, you might not even have it later on even with the relics. This is what I mean, right? If you had the monks around, the camel wouldn't have had much success. There is a camel there. Viper runs away now. And Viper's massing light cav. Light cav seem good unless there's more spearmen, of course. And it feels like the 5 spearmen are still a perfect amount against the amount of light cav I'm seeing. And there's a camel now. Also, woo, woo, woo. Another monastery. Viper might need another stable against this. And here, Viper's monk. This will go down. Viper's light cav. They're going to try and pick off any reinforcements here. But the siege is here. We only have 5 spearmen for Barles. Good pressure from him. I'm really impressed. Like, Viper looked like he was in such a good position. And he is in a good position. But Barles has made getting to this hill look so much easier than any players would make it look. Now, Barles will know his opponent's on light cav. And this villager may get picked off. Viper doesn't want to engage because he sees the camel. Viper's TC could meld here soon. He's going for his own elite skirm upgrade. When there's siege on the field, that is very questionable here. But this is great work from him. He's going to see this, and he will kill that monk. That's precisely what he wants. His own skirms have come out now. I guess it's just going to be a micro battle, right? Like, skirms can be good against enemy pikemen. Skirms can still kind of cancel out skirmishers. You already had Bodcanero. Spearmen, really the big question now. Otherwise, I think the light cav will be completely fine, and the spearmen are kind of out of position. Viper now in his TC. He's going to shoot the siege with his TC. Skirmisher splitting. Sick micro from Viper. And he's going to take out all the siege. Dang, man. Again, I think the army composition was a little, like, suboptimal. But you don't have knights. So he said, screw it. I'll just, like, do enough. And now, you know, you don't really have monks here. You don't have siege in this push. I'm just going to toss in my skirmishers and my light cav, and maybe I've got a chance. Still no castle for Viper. He still doesn't have the stone for that castle. He's not mining this stone. Can't easily mine this stone. Barles still lacking the spearman number, which I think is the big thing. No pikeman upgrade either really hurts. And these monks might not live very long, but if you ever see a camel, you should absolutely try and convert it. Some crazy pressure from Barles, and Viper continues to try and pick off reinforcements. We've now had a couple knights added in here. Again, Barles doesn't actually have any relics. Viper with ballistics on the way for like 3 skirmishers. And here he comes with camels now. Camels that will most likely be converted. And then the siege is here for Viper's ranged units. That split micro was dirty there with those monks. Are you kidding me? That was disgusting. And now he's going to convert the camels back? No, not quite. Even though Viper's trades are not the best, he still has the big eco lead. So normally you delay these pushes long enough, and then eventually you're just able to outproduce. But I don't know, man. He's had, okay, 3 stables now, so he is maxing out in production a bit more. Barles just can't freaking push this TC. That's the problem. He has to work so hard all the time. Monks and Siege still coming out from the front. I think if Viper gets one more wave of stable units in here, half camel, half light cav, he doesn't even need the range units. Viper will be completely fine. And it might be a situation where we see the GG immediately after, too, because I think Viper will save the stone for a castle. There's no way he wants to drop the castle here, here, here. He wants it here. But does he have the confidence that he can actually take these fights? Well, there the light cav go in. And all the monks are starting to go down. He might have the confidence now. There's no monks for Barles. The siege has been cleared up quite a few times over here. That fight, kind of okay for Viper. It feels like the same story as last time. He's still not clearing it all, but he's delaying it. But, you know, now Viper... Oh, he does end up dropping the castle here. Interesting. He realizes the Mangonel is weak, which is pretty clutch. Takes it out there with the skirms. And yeah, he will complete this castle then. Yeah, it felt like if for Barles, he was on a timer here. And he knew it. And Viper knew it as well. And that's why Viper took the engagements that he did. And Viper's taking good enough trades here. And he's got the resources to go up to the Imperial Age soon. And Barles is going to be really, really struggling now. Because you've got all these buildings here. Do you really want to invest into this forward when you can't push the TC anymore? Probably not. This could all be cleared up then. Then you've got really no defense at home. You've got no army momentum. And you definitely don't have the economy that Viper has. Still, though, like, Viper has 6 skirms, 3 crossbows, 3 camels, 2 light cav, 1 spearman, 1 knight. He never really had a big ball. But through the conversions and the micro and maybe, you know, ballistics being in there, it was all pretty decent. A nice split there from Viper. But Barles knew this whole time that it was unlikely that he was ever going to be able to do too much there. He just had already produced the thing, so he figured why not. And I think that this is most likely over from here. Viper going to move out and try and get some of those relics. Barles grabbing some relics now. But again, even if Barles had 3 relics, that fight's not really any different with that type of army composition, right? I think having all your monks on the front initially and having the pikeman upgrade with the push would have been so helpful. Because Viper was running in with light cav for the most part. Yeah, Eco KD is fairly crazy considering how this game has gone. Barles, he's going to lose that monk there. Viper sees it. Barles with a panic castle now. So Viper is going to bring his ranged units over here. And oh no, Barles! I still don't know what his plan is in Imp. I think he's got some big problems. But can he complete this castle? Viper sees it. Saw it the whole way, obviously, because of the light cabin. Okay, castle will go up. False alarm. Again, the forward will get cleared. Viper now going to just move in. Drop a castle on this hill. His initial castle may just send a trebuchet forward immediately. And then this castle will follow up with more trebs, putting Barles under more pressure. Wow, look at the resources for Viper right now. Still crazy. He doesn't actually have a massive army, but he might just be waiting to see exactly what his opponent's going to commit to. He should have the counter to everything the Lithuanians could do. What happened here, by the way? Maybe a villager was tried to be quick-walled. Will Viper go conscription? Okay, he goes conscription. Sometimes you use that castle to send a treb, but obviously with those resources, you want your units out as quickly as possible. Viper sees the skirms, maybe thinking that's the route his opponent goes. Clicks Hussar, clicks Bracer, queues up some more Hussar. 70 on food for Viper. Dang. The aggression doesn't feel like he has 70 on food, because he just hasn't really put his foot on the gas just yet. But I don't really know if that's needed at the moment. Oh, also, this monk is actually fully walled in. That monk is fully walled in, so Barles did that. That explains what happened there then. Ranged units hitting the wood line. Trebs are going to be hitting here. I think Barles might see this Trebuchet and end up calling it. I mean, it's an important game for him right now. He knows he's probably been behind for a while here. You want to play on until you know you're dead, but I think you see the Trebs coming here. And you've got to know that there's just, like, no way out for you here, right? Maybe once the castle actually goes down. That's a conclusion that he comes to. Just Hussars for Viper. And not committing to camels, just the Hussars. Seems like a decent move to me. Save the gold for something else, like Bombard Cannons. A Trebuchet from Barles in defense. That Trebuchet will go down to Viper's Hussars. More than likely, it's going to go down to Viper's Hussars, and yes, it will. As will the Mangonel. Viper even split away from that, which is so unnecessary at this point. And Viper might have lost the first game, but Viper wins the second game in true Viper fashion. Gets some early game control. So it's like early game defense, then mid game control, mid game eco, mid game defense, win the game in imp. That's like the most Viper thing ever, is that order of events. It's a constant cycle of a little bit of greed and economy and defense into a lead. And that just continues throughout every stage of the game. Had this game even been closer, like let's say Viper even lost this TC, it really felt inevitable with all this economy that Viper had back here that he was going to eventually take the middle again and have those relics, obviously, in the meantime. So, a good series so far. Viper, he now is up to 6 wins out of a potential 8, I guess. He's obviously feeling great near the top there of Group D. But Barles, man, he's going to his home map now. It's on Arena. He already showed what he could do against Viper on some of these more strategic maps that are very civ-focused and execution-focused. I know Viper's also really good at Arena, okay? Don't get me wrong, but I really want people to go into this next game and feel like Barles has a chance, because he absolutely does, obviously dependent on the civ matchups and everything else. So when the draft happened, Viper had picked Hindustanis first, which he just won with, and then he picked Poles. And then, obviously, there was back and forth with more civilization picks, but we figured out pretty early on that Barles wanted Bohemians. And then the last pick for Viper, we do allow 5 civilization picks, even though they're just play all 3s, was Turks. And I had said at the start of the draft, for those that were watching live with me, that I didn't like Viper's draft because I wasn't sure about Poles against Bohemians on Arena right now. I love the Turks. I think that Viper's skill set suits the Turks, and I'll be excited to talk about this one. I mean, Dave and I talked about it a bit. I mean, we talked about it a lot because we see these civilizations, but I think that Bohemians have an issue right now where they just sometimes don't get the time to go for their late game. And the other issue is Turks get the free light cav upgrade, so there's a lot of reason for the Turks to just hold the middle of the map. And Turks in the hands of the Viper, it's going to give him map control and be able to use the free chemistry and the free light cav and whatever else he wants to do to maybe apply some pressure in the middle of the map. That said, if we're expecting the Bohemians to boom, or we're expecting the Bohemians to play defensive, what a freaking map for that, man. Main gold is in the very back. This gold is next to Woodline, which is very nice for a boom situation. This stone is next to Woodline, which is very nice for TCs. So, honestly, Barles has somehow gotten access to some of Viper's map hacks, though, to be honest, Viper's map is also still pretty good with the golden stone in the back. So, yeah. There's pretty much 2 things you expect here from the Turks. You either have the fast castle into unique unit, which is Janissary, or fast castle into the light cav to go for the middle of the map and compete for the relics. And if I were Viper, I would have faith in my ability to go for the light cav and just boom. That suits his skill set. The all-in plays is not really something you see from the Viper that frequently. How good is Viper's Monk micro? Probably not good enough to go all in monks like some of the crazy players do with monks, but still very good. Enough where he's got like, 5 to 8 monks. He's going to be able to get valuable conversions in defensive scenarios. But in an offensive situation, like, honestly, if it was Madri versus Viper, and they went 6 monasteries both, and it was just, I convert your monk, you convert it back, I would favor a player like Madri. So I think Bohemians have a potentially greater peak than the Turks. But if they do, it's slightly above the Turks. And it's also much more difficult. Though, you get the mining upgrades for free, which goes a long way. You get a lot of bonuses to work with. Fervor and Sanctity applies to your monks and your villagers. Additional bonus damage from your halberdiers is helpful. Chemistry in Castle Age, obviously better than not having that at all available in Castle Age. Turks get it for free in early imp. Every arena game of Turks versus Bohemians I've seen, Turks have won because artillery is better than Hufnitsa. I don't think it's just that. I think it's easier to get to. Chemistry being free means you get to the bombard cannons a little faster. In theory, anyways. And then you research the Hufnitsa upgrade out of your siege workshop, whereas you research artillery out of the castle. But yes, you guys are right. Sorry for that stutter there. That was weird. That artillery bombard cannons can compete if we're talking about the cannon war. But, like, Hufnitsa is super expensive. That's the main thing. So the last time I saw this matchup, it was Vinchester versus Vallis. And Vinch went for like 5 to 10 Janissaries and full bombard cannons after that, and he won. And he had pressured the middle of the map in early imp. And I should mention even before that, he went for the light cav control in the middle. Yeah, so, and then there was a game where the Bohemians had won, where it was Sato and Velez, or Velez, excuse me. But Sato went all in Janissaries with a fast imp on the front. And I don't think that necessarily is something you need to do here, because of how good Turks are with the standard play. Why is Viper going for farms before completing his sheep? That's actually pretty standard here. 6 or 7 on the sheep, and any more than that, they start to bump into each other. So it's pretty common to see a couple additional farms. The real question is he going above 26 pop here? Okay, he's going to go 27 pop. Interesting. Almost every other arena build that I've seen, it's always 26 pop. But, I mean, you might not think it's that big of a deal, but sometimes it can be. Like, in situations where someone's going to castle drop you, for example, being later to feudal could hurt you. But it was the same thing I said about Viper in the the second game. It was like, he's up a little later than he needs to, but his eco is going to be really clean when he gets there. But what I do is I go 4 farms, I go 26 pop, and everything is still really achievable. Most players are not going 5 farms in Dark Age these days with their arena builds. No. It's a good call to say with more farms that Viper would try a fast imp, but on this population, usually not. I think the fast imp build requires you to go to 30 pop. And while it is Viper, we'll see. Barles had all that time to remember to make a house on the way to Feudal Age and didn't make it. So he goes for Town Watch. So he's going to be down a villager. But he's got good vision. Probably not ideal. But hey, I mean, at least he realized it and took advantage of the situation in some way. The Viper will drop a stable. And he goes for the market, a play that I really like to see. Because, as I've said before, you're already getting the light cav upgrade for free. You already have an advantage there. Very rarely do you see players go for something like forging or armor in the early stages. So it's actually more valuable to... it's just more valuable to be able to buy and sell resources if you need it. Recently, I saw Jordan do a 23 population Teuton fast castle. Yeah, the fast castle builds can be really crazy these days, which is why Vipers is definitely seen as slow. So Barles, you know, he's probably going to go for a TC and get a slight lead over the Viper, but this is more of your old, like, 300 ping arena build play from Viper. Just more relaxed, you know? Nothing crazy. But the thing about the fast builds is that you're cutting corners sometimes, and you miss out on eco upgrades, or it becomes harder to produce your scouts, or it becomes harder to produce your villagers. And so, you know, you're like 1 or 2 missteps away from having an awful start then, if you go for the fast builds. I think this is just insta-boom from Barles. I wonder if he even competes for relics. Everything I've seen with the Bohemians is they go for the monastery and 3 TCs. But then they don't end up getting a lot of relics because the Turks have light cav, and then Turks just catch up in economy. He hasn't dropped the monastery yet. I honestly think your best chance might just be, as stupid as it sounds, to just go for the 3 TCs. Just do it. Don't even try and play the game with the Turks. Yeah, okay. Here we go. That's what he's going to do. Because to anyone who says, well, Bohemians can add Spearmen, there's going to be light cav out there. Yeah, but Viper will always just run away from the Spearman, and then he has a monk to convert your Spearman. Spearman can't kill monks. This might not win the game for Barles, but I genuinely believe that this is actually giving him his best chance to in this matchup. Maybe try and like, pressure Viper in early imp. You might end up getting those relics back anyways. Also, mods, if you're lurking out there. We've had different bots with similar links today for whatever reason. Also, for those of you that frequent the stream, I will be posting something in the announcements channel on Discord at some point over the next week. And it's basically, we're just going to add a couple more mods. Don't be offended if I don't pick you. We're not going to add a lot of people, but just like a couple more into the Discord. And, Scout and the Monk. Get it. Kill it. Got him. Nice job there, Barles. Yeah, we're going to add like a couple more mods for the stream in the Discord. So I think I have a Google Doc there. And those of you that would have interest, you could submit your application. You must have at least a master's degree and 4 years of experience in your field. And the wage is $0 per hour. So best of luck to you. Best of luck, applicants. I'm kidding, obviously. The wage part is true. $0 per hour is absolutely spot on, but you don't need to have a master's degree, so... It's just if you're hanging out and you want to help out, we'll have helpful people be around to be able to help out with things. All right, and this scout's going to go down. Now, here's the counter argument to the straight boom, okay? So I think the smart players, when they realize that their opponent's full booming, they add a siege workshop and they start to pressure, which puts Barles in a defensive position where he might have to or underreact to a problem. And, Viper, he's pretty smart, right? He should sense this. But the other thing that's tricky, so in a normal relic contest where you have everybody going for the relics, you might make like 10 monks throughout Castle Age to get 3 relics. But now Viper doesn't make more monks because he doesn't have to, because he's not losing any. So he's investing way less to get all 5 relics, which brings in a lot of gold. But yeah, man, I really do feel like Burgundians and Turks, they're so good against the Bohemians. If you just play into light cav and boom. Like, it does feel like right now that while Bohemians have a deadly late game against the majority of civilizations, Burgundians and Turks just seem to have a slight edge there. Oh, Moonwalking Monk. Nice job, Viper. Got the Masters, but only 2 years of experience. Is it still worth applying? Nope, not good enough. Sorry. We have way better applicants than you. Just joking. I'm just making a joke because, like, you know, obviously I'm lucky to do what I do now. And I'm very, very happy with it. But I remember how it was. You're, like, job searching, whatever. And you get a job that'll be, like, for whatever they pay, you'd feel like, oh, okay, this won't require a lot of experience. And they'd be like, they require X, Y, Z degree and, like, 5 years of experience. Or, like, 10 years of experience to flip burgers at McDonald's. Like, I know, I remember those days, and so I kind of made a joke on that. 4 TCs for Viper, so no siege push. I mean, I kind of would have liked to seen a little bit of pressure here. Barles is going to drop a castle soon, and he's going to be torn, I imagine, on where he places this castle. I'm sure he'd love to place it here, but if siege were to be coming in, he wouldn't be so certain of that. And boom. I have 2 masters, but I require a $5 a year salary. Sorry, don't have the budget for that. Do not have the budget for that. Too steep for me. Viper buying some stone right now. You know, that 4th town center, when you have the relics, is a little greedy in my experience. Because normally it's a race to imp here. You're going to be able to afford a lot anyways. But Viper probably knows he needs to catch up with the villager count. And Barles is going to click up to imp here. And remember, there was no pressure from Viper. No attempt to, like, hold map control and keep Barles in his base longer. Barles is going to have a real time window here, guys. And Barles clicks up to the Imperial Age. Viper will definitely surpass him with villagers. But I actually think this could work well for Barles. He gets, like, 5 to 10 pikemen in the field, protects his monks, walks forward, drops his next castle here with the siege workshop. You also have to research chemistry. I mean, everything's got to be right here. Because you need to beat Viper to those cannons, which is tricky because Viper can make them instantly an imp. But I think he's giving himself his best chance. There's chemistry now. So that will be in when he makes it to imp. Or, well, before then, but... Viper's castle, obviously right next to 2 golds that he will want in this game. Let's check resources collected, too. Barles has collected a little bit more. Just a little bit more. That'll probably get closer and closer. Absolutely want that next castle and a siege workshop on the front here for Barles. That's the whole point of this. Did Viper see anything there? He saw the barracks. So now, if Viper's adding a few Janissaries to help out. It is also possible Barles doesn't want the castle forward, and I could be wrong. I just think that because you're on some type of a small timer here with Viper having the relics. But, you know, maybe that's not the case. Feels like he is saving that stone for a certain time, though, right? And there's his siege workshop. So he will actually make his siege workshops at home. Hopefully for him, he's actually going to be able to make bomber cannons right away. Viper saw this coming in. He's had the outpost here and lots of vision. And Viper will go in for the monk here. He won't get it, but he does have enough Janissaries to force back the pikemen. And Viper does end up sniping the monk, actually. Converts a pikeman or 2. Here comes Barles for the castle. Also, a Hussite wagon being here is very helpful. Just adds a little bit of... an extra layer of tankiness. And now you gotta back out of here with these pikemen and hope to complete this castle. First bomber cannon's on the way. Uh-oh. 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 Janissaries, man. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Sorry, by the way, this is not a Hussite wagon. This is what we call a food truck. The food trucks, man, they're ready to deliver. The villagers are gonna get in line right after they finish building this castle. And boom. Okay, castle's gonna complete. Viper now hits imp. I wonder how quickly Viper gets artillery, if at all, here. He's got a lot of Janissaries queued up. He gets artillery instantly, and instantly starts to produce his bomber cannons. Oh, man, the thing that bothers me so much for Barles is he doesn't have a lead in bombard cannon numbers. He only made one. He had double siege workshop, but he hasn't been making them. I think he's saving for the Hoofnitze upgrade. This is what we had talked about, right? Like, Turks, they don't need to research that. They get chemistry for free. And now Viper's got, like, all the relic gold, too. So, he's saving for the Hoofnitze upgrade, and, yep, couldn't produce the cannons. So difficult, man. Again, I think this is maybe his best chance at success, is full booming it. And now 14 range cannons for the Viper. Such a cool upgrade. Also, I have to say, I'm very happy that Turks are still holding their own against some of the new expansion civs. Like, there's so many expansion civilizations that are in our meta these days. And there's some really fun ones, don't get me wrong, right? But, you know, it's good to see, like, some of the classic civs that haven't been changed really at all, with the exception of, like, maybe one edition of Sipahi. Just still being beastly, you know? Like, Turks have always been good on Arena over all these years. This makes me happy. Even though I really struggle to face up against the Turks as well, and not easy as Viper. What? That Treb hit dead on, and Viper's cannon's on 2-8. Oh, it's because the Turks get more HP. The Turks get more HP, guys. Other bombard cannons are 80 HP. Turks are 100. Otherwise, Viper would have lost that. That's a nice little bonus you always forget about. All right, so now Barles he's going to have 3 Hoofnitze cannons. But resources collected, looking better and better for the Viper. Not to mention, he does have very good vision here, guys. He's got outposts all around. He's starting to add the stables. Viper sees the cannons. He's pretty close to them. He wants to get the kills on them. He splits. Disaster for Barles. He loses one of them. And he might just lose the siege workshops next if Viper wants to take his time. Has to be said, though, Viper played this so clean, right? Just as he did game number 2, just as Barles did in game number 1. Barles had some sick plays in the first game. And both players may be playing to their full potential as individuals, but also their civs, and 2 big cannons go down there. You just can't get in close enough right now if you're Barles. It's like Viper having Britain longbows when you have regular arbalest. Like, like Ethiopian arbalest, I guess, right? Because where they attack faster or something. I'm trying to find some type of comparison. Life just isn't fun right now if you're Barles. I also feel like the Halb play was maybe a bit of a bait. I don't know. Like, I completely understand why he did it, which is what makes it so tricky. And he did it because he knew Viper could go Hussar. And Viper had Lycab on the field. Okay, Viper losing some units. Barles actually still keeping most of his cannons alive. And his siege workshops, which are continually producing here, which is kind of funny. The food truck gets flattened. Hoofnitze cannon here, still microing. Dang, dude. All right. Nice shot there from Viper. Viper gets it, though. Oh, my God. And, yeah, I mean, there's cannons queued up in that workshop, and that goes down. Cannons queued up in this workshop, and that's going to go down. Viper's just having fun right now. So, you know, maybe this answers the whole question. If there was a question, is who is the better cannons? Me, it looks like Turks have the better cannons. It played correctly with the timings of this map. That +2 range from artillery has been around in our game for a very long time. You never really saw artillery utilized that much. I actually think there is a world, guys. Now, I'm not actually proposing this. I think Turks are perfectly balanced. I don't think they should be touched. But I honestly think there's a world with artillery being seen so frequently and it being so dominant that there might be... The devs might actually choose to make artillery more expensive. Because remember, it used to cost stone until like 6 months ago. And it was actually harder to research when it cost stone. But it didn't really make a lot of sense that it cost stone. So I think it's now food and gold. Viper sees this, by the way. He's going to run in there with his Hussars. He's been waiting for some reason to raid. But yeah, I mean, maybe it even gets just boosted up in cost by a couple hundred food, couple hundred gold or something. I don't know. Or maybe Turks will just remain being really strong with their gunpowder, and all is right in the world if that's the case, and there should be no reason to change it whatsoever. Turks have been left unchanged for the most part ever since I've been a part of this game. There's a couple of tweaks here or there, and that castle falls for Barles as he's desperate to get another win, man. Getting 2-1 against Viper would be such a sick result. He's landing some shots here or there. You could tell when the Hufnitsa cannons hit why they're valued. Actually, the Halbs getting some decent kills here. And Barles has no gold income right now. There's no relics. He is sniping all of Viper's cannons, though, and Viper's Treb. Last chance, maybe. This might absolutely be his last chance. 5 Hufnitsa, 20 Halbs. Viper has no cannons. Drama time. Oh! Viper! Drama time. Especially if he starts to produce from these siege workshops here. Viper lost a lot of cannons to Halbs. Okay. Barles is on gold now, so he's able to do that because Viper has to react to this. Viper doesn't want to allow Barles to attack the siege workshop, so he's constantly going to try and force an engagement. He split micros. He split micros, snipes 1. Yeah, he sniped 2. Loses a lot of Jans. Just killed 2. Lost a lot of Janissaries, though. Again, he's got the gold, though, right? So, you know, that's a trade where he might be comfortable. But Barles takes the score lead. Is Viper going to throw this game? Is Viper going to lose this game because he lost all of his cannons to Halbs? What? He's losing more of them. Barles hype. Score lead. Holy... No! Okay, deleted it. Okay, yeah, that's a little preemptive. But Viper's falling apart, guys. He had the unit comp, but he just took too many big hits here, and he maybe didn't have the support units. Oh, my God, Barles. Bro. Can you please calm down with these castles? You're stressing me out, man. He just lost the stone. I think he might have deleted it. I don't even know. But, you know, Barles knows he's on a clock. He knows he has to push. He knows he has to take good engagements constantly. And he figures if the castle was up as well, it would only help. Great attack round there from Barles. Still poking with the Halbs. Still having to micro his Hufnitsa. Viper still has cannons, but so many of them are weak. And the Halbs are actually getting in close enough. Barles still has the population lead. He still has gold access. He's now going to try and build a castle here again. This time he makes more sense. And, you know, for Viper, the real issue for him is he kept producing from the front. And so he's donated quite a few of these kills here over the last couple minutes to Barles. And that's another example of it. He is going to start trebbing this castle. He's got Barles exposed. Still, Barles doesn't have gold income. Viper just needs to hold on here. And he's got this game. Just needs to hold on. And maybe the Halb numbers have actually whittled away here for Barles. They're just not in position, right? There's a lot over here. And now suddenly Barles is losing his cannons. Pretty crazy game. And Barles is showing how good a player he is. As he will actually keep this castle alive. But he's now kind of losing control of this region again. And still, you know, Viper could always swing back over and take this gold at any point in time. Viper has more cannons. Viper has tons of gold. He just needs to be producing out of the siege workshops from home. But easier said than done, obviously, when you have to produce, and Barles kills 2 of them. And continues to be able to repair his somehow against these Hussars. Very impressive. As he sells the barn here. Dang, the population swings in this game are incredible. Barles 180 population. Viper 140. Barles, do you push here maybe? I don't think so. I think you have to continue to push in this area. There's a lot of gold here you need. The beauty of the Halbs is that they've done more than enough damage. And it's just a nice little meat shield. And you don't have to spend gold on it either. You just continue to just toss them in, and trading 10 halbs for a bombard cannon is worth it. And then hopefully your own cannons, if you have them, are taking out Viper's Janissaries at the same time. This is a crazy fight here, man. This is also why you don't resign. Like, there would have been a lot of reason to maybe consider a GG earlier. This is also why you just continue to fight until you're completely out of gold. Because even against the Viper, you could somehow claw your way back into a game with a couple good moments. Most created unit for Viper is probably going to be the Janissary this game. Most created unit for Barles is probably going to end up being the Halbs. You would think that would have led to more success here for Viper. Look at Barles. Little house walls around the Treb here. Doesn't have them all down, though. We'll lose that cast. Sorry, not the cast of the Treb. Viper has his cannon mass back up, guys. He's got 7 of them. This is around where he was before. And then suddenly everything fell apart. He lost like 8 or 9 cannons. But he's always had the potential to get back to this stage. And now Barles is down to 150 population. And maybe this is actually it. Maybe Viper was just adding a little bit of drama to our cast here. It feels like you always had to be pushing if you don't have the gold. Viper's had all the extra gold in the stone in the middle, on top of having the 5 relics. 34 Janissary, more Hussars in queue. Siege Workshop should be your focus right now if you're Viper. He sees that one. He's going to take this one first. And Barles actually, I think, canceled the cannon in that one. Which is probably a good idea, actually, because you're going to just lose it. Viper just going to hold over here as he pushes this side. Viper is turning into a bit of a boa constrictor here, you know? Just like slowly clamping down around the enemy, suffocating them. Oh! One cannon goes down. Barles needs this. This is his moment. Okay, not so much. He's got... He could have 6 Hufnitze if he just waits. Oh, man, what a crazy death ball, though. Also, do you know how hard the micro is with all these armies? This is super difficult micro for both players. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Viper's back down to 3 cannons. Barles will not quit, man. Oh, man. Another big shot for Barles. Worth it for Viper to sacrifice his Hussars for cannon kills, though. Trying his best here. I'm trying my best to show you as well how many are actually in here. It looks like a few have gone down. You've just got 2 on the field right now for Barles. The Viper's at 4. Crazy, man. I think all the gold is gone on the map, by the way. I think... Actually, no, it's not. Apart from this, all the gold is gone, so there's like 400 gold remaining there. And then it's just fighting with the gold that you have from the relics. I mean, if Turks work their way through all the gold and they're only relying on relics, is there a chance? Relic income's great, obviously. Oh, nice hits there from Viper. Another attack round from Viper. He actually killed his own Hussar. Barles loses a Treb. This is a real dogfight, man. But I wonder if Viper could just, like, send 20 Hussars into the economy of his opponent here at this point. Kills another cannon. Like, just get the Hussars and just run in. Barles can't deal with that. You're still holding all this, and he's still saving the stone to repair. I think Viper's at a state where he could consider doing that. Maybe would need to ram open the side first to be able to justify that. Barles is accidentally making militia, which is not so pretty to see when you have limited gold income. But that's just a hotkey issue because he's stressed out right now. Well, to be fair to Viper, yeah, maybe he needs more Hussar production, but Hussars do get destroyed by the Bohemian Halbs. The Bohemian Halbs are crazy. And yeah, there you go. Now he's just going to squeak a couple Hussars in. Like now you, instead of sending Halbs forward, you have to send Halbs back. It's very easy to just send too many back and then you don't have enough on the front. Or like things like this happen, right? Like you just get distracted on the front and you make mistakes. Viper micro. Viper Hussars. Now you've got the Hussars in. Again, you've got the distraction if you're Barles. Sick grouping from Barles, though, to somehow save some of these cannons. But Viper kills one, and Viper will be happy with that. And Viper attack grounds the next one, and that might be it. We got one more cannon if you're Barles. You're starting to get raided now. I'm sure you can sense this could be the beginning of the end. Gets a shot. The militia. Let's go, militia. Viper will be very happy with his performance here today. I think, like, game one was, like, a little bit of a test. I think maybe it reminded Viper how good Spanish can be, though. From what I was told, he actually had said that he was more scared of Portuguese, maybe. Which, I don't know. I disagree with on Nomad. I think Spanish are still a bit better than Portuguese. Barles had the first pick, so maybe it's just clear as day for me as a caster after seeing the result. Barles has no gold. Barles doesn't have the same eco as Viper. Viper has cannons. Could even see C-Dram here for Turks, actually. I think C-Dram addition on the sides would be valuable, and you just leave the cannons here. But yeah, Viper's just having fun now. I think he will know that the gold is gone. Probably has felt like the gold has been gone for a long time for Barles. And he can just take his time. Just pull the Halbs into the Hussars. Pull the Halbs into the Janissaries. Barles at 130 pop could easily justify calling the GG right now. He just still doesn't quite want to call it. It's actually very possible that because Barles is so focused, he doesn't see his pop. That is something players look at, but, like, more than anything, he's probably, like, Q army out of this, Q army out of that, and then trying to control his army. But yeah, the GG's called. That was a great game. Honestly, I think Barles put up more of a fight than maybe many of us would have expected with how we know Viper can play and with how strong we know the Turks can end up being. I felt as though the game was over at a certain point when Viper was sitting here with 8 or 9 cannons and was pushing into Barles' base. But Barles got a couple big hits and then suddenly had an opportunity. But for Viper, it's like he had the buildings prepped and he was always ready to reinforce, and he just then needed to hold and eventually turn that into a big push to finish the game. 110,000 resources collected there for Viper, 96,000 resources collected for Barles. But guys, for Barles, this is like kind of the theme for him. He has lost every single series. However, he's always gotten one win. And that right there can make the difference between you staying in Platinum for the next season or being relegated. Just to read off the names that are in this group. You've got Viper, you've got Tato, you've got Veleza, you've got Sito, and you've got Sebastian. Okay? So odds are, just wild guess, Viper's not going to be relegated. Veleza's not going to be relegated. Tato's not going to be relegated. Then it's a question of who out of the other three is going to be relegated. You have Sito, you have Barles, and you have Sebastian. Right now, Sebastian, he has only played 2 rounds. He has 6 losses, looking really bad for him. Sito, he had played 2 rounds and had 3 wins. Now, Barles has played 3 rounds and has 3 wins. But we don't know what Sito's result is going to be when he plays his next series. We also don't know what happens when Barles and Sito play each other. That Barles-Sito series in Group D will be crazy, 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 I think, to determine where players end up looking. I still am kind of leaning towards Sito winning that type of series and towards Barles inevitably, for a tough fight, maybe being relegated. But again, that whole series would probably swing that whole conversation. Viper now has 7 wins after 3 rounds and looking pretty good in Group D. I think his opponents he still has to play would be Tato and then Veleza, though. So, Tato and Veleza have been playing amazing. So Viper's hardest opponents are actually coming up later on in the next couple weeks. Great series. Hope people enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts. Again, I'm just really happy to see the Turks play well. I really do not know why people are picking Bohemians over the Turks right now, because every time I'm seeing it, I think Turks have the slight edge. So, with the way the draft was situated here, you had Barles picking Bohemians 3rd, and then Viper waited until his final pick to pick Turks at the very end. I feel like maybe meta's going to shift and people are going to be picking Turks higher, or I don't know. Maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe it's a preference thing. Who knows? GG's. Well played. Great series. And we'll have more action coming up.